Not really. We just almost had a biopic made for our band, but
The musical biopic is a nice little genre that usually gives us high quality films. In the past couple years, we've gotten some great ones. Elvis and The Complete Unknown come to mind, but even older ones like The Doors and I Walk the Line hold up. We do get our missteps though, don't we? All Eyes on Me, that's pretty terrible. Back to Black is sadly a pretty bad film. Now, this past weekend gave us the release of Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, a musical biopic about Bruce Springsteen. So what do we have here? Does Deliver Me From Nowhere make it to the promised land? Or does it fall behind? Well, before we answer that, let's talk a little bit about the plot to Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere.
Let's talk.
It's 1981, and following the immense success of his album The River, a burned-out Springsteen retreats to a rental home in Colts Neck, New Jersey. As he attempts to write new music, he is hunted by his painful childhood memories, including his strained and complex relationship with his mentally ill alcoholic father and his supportive but worried mother. And as the pressures mount from outside and in, Bruce explores his struggles with depression and personal demons.
Thank you, Mr. Springsteen!
So what works in this film? Well, Jeremy Allen White plays the boss, and he hits it out of the park here. The Bear actor plays Springsteen. He's actually the same age, 34, as Bruce was during this time period, and he fully delivers. The singing, the style, the sadness. And yes, that's him singing and playing. It makes for a remarkably powerful performance. He's flawless and Oscar-worthy, if you ask me. The performances from the rest of the cast are strong as well. Everybody is caught up in this world of chaos and Springsteen's personal demons, and the rest of the cast takes cues from White and more than hold their own when going one-on-one with him. It's really some powerful stuff at times. And no surprise, but the soundtrack is pretty awesome, especially if you are a fan.
Bruce, 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 Bruce.
What doesn't work, however, is if you are going into this film thinking you're going to see a biopic about Springsteen's rise to fame, you are mistaken. This film is laser focused on his recording of the Nebraska album and the lead up to the Born in the USA album. But it is particularly focused on Nebraska and every problem Bruce was having around that time, both mentally and physically. And that's fine. It's an odd choice. Springsteen is an icon and has albums that are considered all-time classics. And Nebraska, it's a solid album, but I would never call it one of his all-timers. So this topic is really only going to appeal to hardcore Springsteen fans. Also, the pacing is really off. It's a little bit long, and it's a kind of like a slow burn movie, but by the time it gets to the third act, I was really kind of questioning exactly what I was watching. And finally, whether you love him or hate him, you have to recognize and acknowledge that Bruce Springsteen, he's an absolute American musical icon. And the choice to make this film about this very small part of his life just seems like a strange choice to me. Yeah, it has powerful moments, and I get what it was trying to do, but I was really hoping for much more.
I wanted more.
Springsteen working through his personal demons stemming from his childhood trauma while creating Nebraska, it has its moments, especially the performances of the cast, White in particular. But it doesn't make for the most compelling, well-rounded biopic. It's not a bad movie by any stretch. It has some excellent moments. The music is awesome. The performances are generally great. The first two acts are incredibly solid. White gives an Oscar-worthy performance. But it is a slog at times, and it is really something that is only going to appeal to the most hardcore Springsteen fans. I personally am a big fan of Springsteen, and I would have liked a bigger, more bombastic biopic, something that maybe tells more of his story. This didn't do that, and because of that, it didn't really do it for me. I didn't hate it. I liked a decent amount of it, but I didn't love it.
It could be better.
Well, that's all I have for you this week. Tune in next week, where I give you my thoughts and my feelings on whatever I've seen. In the meantime, click that like button, subscribe, leave a comment or a question, share this video with friends and enemies alike, and as always, thank you for giving me your valuable time. And I'll see you next week. Take care.